Hi everyone, my name is Seth. I write epic fantasy and science fiction under the pen name S.B. Sebrick. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of using the traditional publishing to make money in fiction writing. This is just going to be a light overview, so if you want me to go into any of these topics in more detail, feel free to say so in the comments below and I will get a video out as soon as I can to answer those questions. So some of the pros for traditional publishing are as follows. First off, since you are being hired by a publishing company to produce content, they take care of the book cover design, the sales copy, the formatting, and a lot of the genre branding specifics of publishing that you don't have to worry about because you're just focusing on writing the story. Less responsibility rests on your shoulders because they're doing a lot of the publishing, the distribution, the book formatting. Of course, you'll still be in charge of doing marketing. They'll still probably ask you to do a blog and run social media and perhaps go to bookstores to do book signings and that kind of thing. As far as marketing goes, one of the biggest bonuses you'll get through traditional publishing is you'll be part of the publisher's catalog. If you're working with one of the big five, they send out a quarterly catalog with all their new titles, all their new novels with their covers and blurbs, and that's what they send out to distributors and booksellers. They go through the catalog, they see stuff that their readers would like, and they order them in advance. If you're publishing on your own, you don't have access to that specific catalog. So you're not immediately in the same catalog with those select titles. For example, if I was publishing myself in epic fantasy, it would be pretty cool to be in the same in Tor's catalog, right next to some of the Brandon Sanderson or Wheel of Time books. Also, through traditional publishing, they take care of hiring editors, cover artists, people who work in sales, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to worry about any of that if you're just writing for traditional publishing. You also get to tie your work to the traditional publisher's brand. For those of you that aren't familiar with that term, brand is kind of an overall tone that goes to a specific type. So, for example, if you've seen all of the Lord of the Ring books or the Wheel of Time books, they all have a similar feel, a similar font type on the front cover. It's part of their brand. And publishing companies have a brand as well. You can, if they've done their job anyway, you'll be able to look at a series of books and you can be able to say, oh, these are all Penguin books or these are all Tor books. They all have a similar feel. And all of that is taken care of. You don't have to worry about it when you're writing through traditional publishing. Another point for traditional publishing is that if you come up with an idea that they really like, something that they are certain is going to be making hundreds of thousands of sales, they will be able to make some concessions to you that will make a lot of money. They will be able to give you marketing options. For example, Publishers Weekly is one of the common publications that publishers track. In order to get a book cover, a whole page book cover ad in Publishers Weekly costs $125,000. Well, you just let that amount sink in there. You can't afford that kind of marketing on your own salary. At least I know I can't. A traditional publisher, if they are impressed enough with your work, if they are certain it's going to make that many sales that it's worth that kind of money to put down the market, they can do that for you. That is a very rare pro for traditional publishing, especially if you're just starting out as a writer. It's going to take time for you to build a rapport with the publishing company, to build up a sales record that will convince them that you're worth investing in. But they do have those means and that deep a pocketbook if you can convince them that your work is going to be worth that much, that you're going to bring in those kind of sales. So if you've got all of these great pros of traditional publishing, what are some of the cons? What are some of the disadvantages? One of the primary ones is that with traditional publishing, you will be making less money per sale than you would in independent publishing. For example, just using ebooks through Amazon, if you upload books yourself to Amazon, you keep 70% of the royalties. If you upload books to Amazon through a traditional publisher, let's say they give you 20% royalties, which is a little high. Mostly they usually go around 17.5%. But let's say, just to make the math easy, 20%. So let's say you have a book that's out for $5 as an ebook, and both your trad version and your indie version both make 1,000 sales. The independent publisher with 1,000 sales, keeping 70% royalties, walks away with $3,500. The traditionally published author walks away with the same number of sales, but only makes $1,000 because he's only making $20 in royalties. Now that disadvantage seems very stark. You got to remember that traditional publishing connects to nationwide and worldwide booksellers around the globe. There is a capacity there to make hundreds of thousands of sales, and that is how best-selling authors in traditional publishing make their living, because even if you're only making $1.16 per book, if you're selling 2 million copies, that's still a lot of money. So it is possible to make a lot of money in traditional publishing. The catch is you need more sales in traditional publishing to become a full-time writer than you do in independent. But it still can be done, and for all the pros and the things you don't have to worry about and the new skills you don't have to learn, maybe that's a better choice for you. Another con of traditional publishing is the lack of control. You have much less control and much less say-so over what your cover looks like, over what the blurb on the back of the book is like, over how your book is marketed. Your publisher might even give you in your contract certain things, like you have to do a Facebook post every day, you have to do 5 tweets a week, you have to do 2 or 3 blog posts a week. It varies depending on the publisher. But they might give you, in order to honor your contract, you might be stuck in a box of doing certain types of marketing. The front and back matter for the book is completely out of your hands, for example. What comes before your story in a book, the types of invitations that come after your story in a book, you don't have a lot of control over that. That's just up to the publisher and which titles they're trying to push at the time. Another con of traditional publishing is that there are so many hands involved. It's such a lengthy process to go from the writer to the publisher to the distributor to the bookseller to the reader, that when your book is sold, when a reader buys your book, that money might not get back to you for 6 to 12 months. So there is a lull there while the publisher is adding up all of the sales from a given quarter and divvying it up among their editors and their stockholders and the other people involved until you finally get your check. It does take you longer to get your money. Another con is that when you are under contract with a publishing company and you send the editor in the publishing house your manuscript, the editor will be the one deciding what elements of the story need to be kept, what needs to be lost, what's really going to sell. So you could very well be in a conversation with an editor where he's telling you that such and such a character doesn't meet the genre and just needs to be cut out, or that chapters 5 through 10 need to be completely rewritten from a different point of view. And you're under contract to honor those. So you do need to keep that in mind, that you are giving up some of the control of your work, and you might actually be told in a couple contexts what kind of writing you need to do. Now outside of that, you still are in significant control of your marketing, your social media, your blog posts, running your own newsletter. Those are all things, selling your own short stories. You can still do all of that on your own without any issues from the traditional publisher, from the contract and some of the restrictions maybe in place. You're still free to market however you like. But if you want to get into marketing, like where you want to put up free copies up for a raffle or for giveaways and stuff, you will have to jump through more hoops to do that, because you'll have to contact your publisher to get some extra titles sent down to you for you to promote and sell. So that's kind of an overview. They're very brief of the pros and cons of traditional publishing. A lot of these are things that I've picked up at writing conventions for the last 3 or 4 years that I've been working through this. If you have any other questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the space below. And feel free to subscribe, obviously, to my channel if you enjoy this content and want to see more of these videos. I hope you're having a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you later. Take care.